everyone, welcome back to Swam Siksha. Well, today in this video, you're gonna learn that what is about space tourism and why I'm going to discuss about the space tourism today. We'll get to see in the video. Okay, so let's discuss about space tourism. Well, space tourism is actually about humans who are actually traveling into the space for any kind of recreation purposes, like apart from astronauts, so even the regular humans, they can also travel into the space just to look up or to gain the knowledge or any kind of other scientific reasons. So a space tourism was actually came into the existence. So it's like for more accessible for individuals, for any kind of non-scientific purposes, and not only that, to see the space, people who are very curious and all. Right. So, well, if you talk about in the present situation, we have three private companies which were actually, exploring the space with the human endeavor. So they are actually working on it. So, which is the Blue Origin, okay, the first company, and the next one we have, Virgin Galactic and SpaceX. So these were the present highly demanded companies which were actually working on the space tourism, right? So yes, is there anyone who traveled before? So you might get a question. Yes, there is. The first space tourist was actually, a US millionaire who is Dennis Tito. In 2001, he actually paid, a $20 million of money, to get a ride on a Russian Soyuz spacecraft to visit International Space Station, and he actually spent 8 days in the space station. Okay, so he was the first tourist to actually enter into this space. Okay, so after Tito, I must say there has been only seven as of now individual citizens or other private citizens who actually traveled space until 2009. Okay, so yes, and not only that, Space Adventures, which is also another private company, which actually sent paying customers to the orbital space so far. And not only that, in 2004, they actually sent a test pilot, Mike Melvin, who became the first private astronaut to fly beyond the Kármán line. So, Kármán line is nothing but the line which was actually, between the thermosphere and above the mesosphere. It is in and around some 60 miles from the earth. Okay, so there we can have this kind of Kármán line. So you know what exactly is this Kármán line means? Yes, it is the lines that it is internationally recognized boundary of the space. So an international recognized boundary of space. So that is about Kármán line. Now let's see why I'm actually discussing about the space tourism. Well, as you must have all get to know that recently in the news that a company called Blue Origin, where they have actually took an online auction, and the first seat and the only seat in their first rocket launcher, which was taking the tourists to space, was New Shepard. So this New Shepard rocket has been launched, and it actually took place, on 20th July 2021, which was actually another important day where it was the 52nd anniversary of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin's moon landing. Okay, so on that auspicious day, they actually, take off their first test trial or the first tourist rocket system to the space. So this Blue Origin was actually invented by the Amazon founder as well. So the Blue Origin was actually founded, the person who was founded the Amazon itself, who is nothing but Jeff Bezos. So he's the one. So the Blue Origin is the company of West Davos. So and not only that, of course. Now let's talk about the Shepherd, the new Shepherd. So as you could see the flight profile over here, so it got lifted off and it got the separation near the Kármán line. Okay, the international recognized boundary of space, and the capsule where it actually contains on of the rocket system, it got separated, and it actually been there for a longer the time that the flight was there, and then finally it got landed. Okay, now let's talk about this New Shepard. Well, as you could see, the name itself was took after the astronaut Alan Shepard. So he was the first American to go to the space. Okay, so that's why the rocket name was given as New Shepard, right? And it was taken, any kind of astronauts or any kind of research payloads past the common line, right? And not only that, as you could see, it is easier and more cost effective access to space for any kind of academic research, right? And cooperative technology development and any kind of entrepreneurial ventures. So yes, that's how it actually allows space tourists to experience the microgravity by taking them, which is 100 kilometers above the earth. Like imagine if you go above, uh, 100 kilometers above the earth, you could see the entire earth how it is, and you could actually be in space. So that is this space tourism is all about. Okay, so microgravity, well, microgravity is actually a condition in which, any kind of people or objects appears to be weightless. Okay, so but the effects of microgravity can be seen when astronauts and objects flow in the space as well. Okay, so they do have certain kind of things like that. So yes, and if what is exactly the significance of this space travel, if you would ask me, well, it has a huge market. Let's just talk about from there. So the estimated market would have gone for like 2.4 million people for such flights, so who were actually interested, because when they opted for auction, there are 2.4 million people were actually interested and showed interest to such kind of flights. And of course it can actually helpful for the base for testing. Okay, so it's very helpful for the base of testing. Well, what exactly testing means, it can actually provide the base testing for supersonic travel, like between the destinations on earth itself, and significantly compressing the travel time. And it kind of gives and heralds to the entry of private sectors into the arena. So private sectors where they could actually enters into the space things and all. Okay, and of course everything comes with disadvantages of one or two as well. Yes, climate change, which is a biggest one, right? So the climate change will actually be a major issue if these kind of space travels was actually taken up. Like yes, of course we cannot clean the space mess. And not only that, the black carbon that actually results from rocket emissions, right? So they actually struck or accumulated in the stratosphere itself and cannot be washed by any rain or winds. So which actually results that the black carbon will actually stay for a longer time, and that will definitely lead for a huge climate change and so much temperature changes on the earth as well. And apart from that, the health of the tourists, well, yes, we need to talk about that, because going into the space requires a lot of training, but it does have health concerns like motion sickness or any kind of vision or any kind of balance and motion controls, which will definitely get effect to it. Okay, well, if we talk about in our case, like in our country, well, it has to take a new structure and all, because nothing can be done. See, ISRO is the only one which is looking up for the space exploration, right? So yes, even government was introduced or invited private sectors to explore on the space exploration, just like the three companies that I've mentioned, like Blue Origin and all. So yes, even government gave a green signal for the private companies where they could invest and explore the space knowledge, because ISRO has a lot of things to work on. So it cannot be deal, so one organization cannot deal with everything. So helping or any private companies which they can accumulate with ISRO. So yes, of course India do have a lot of scope for this space tourism, um, you know uh, department or like economy as well. Okay, and this space tourism will actually the entire new space industry, it will be a very major effect happens into the space industry. And not only that, it will has a positively impact on socio-economic factors on earth as well, like creating jobs, educating citizens about space, and new solar based energy infrastructure where we could learn, so that maybe at least we will try to reduce the damage that we are doing. But of course this thing will also come up with the damage, like as I mentioned, climate changes and all. So let's see how this space tourism will go into the future, as we could see that SpaceX and other companies were also coming up. And not only that, as I because of this new shepherd which was successfully landed, and which was actually been quite in the news to show that yes, space tourism can actually be happen. And of course it will take a lot of time for our or for regular people to access space tourism, but right now a millionaires can actually afford it. So it's just their curiosity, right, to go and explore the space and all. But it will take time because today the airways was actually an impossible thing or a very high end expense for people earlier, right? You know a decade or 20 years back. But now air flying was very affordable, for all people. So let's hope the space tourism will also get into that, and let's see how much that we could access knowledge, and maybe try to change anything on the earth, that the damages that we're creating right now. So let's hope for the best. And yes, that is what I wanted to discuss today about the space tourism and all. So that's all for today, guys, and I will see you with another video soon. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon for notifications. And do check our website in the description box below for the courses that we're going to provide and all. So yes, that's all for today. Thank you.